go. I love it how I turned invisible. Hello, everybody. Look, I turned invisible like a ghost. Isn't that awesome? Oh. Okay. So, today in this video, I'm going to be making a TV in Roblox. It's not like a TV that shows lots of film. It's a mechanical TV. I'm probably going to pause a few times because one of my friends is messaging me during this video. So, the first step to building this is you want to be in an F3X game, which is the name of this little yellow block thing I have. See how it's building tools F3X, and F3X is the guy or girl who made this tool, or person who made this tool. If we go up here and go here, I should be able to switch which screen. I'm not able to switch which screen right now. I'll put it in the description of this video. And the name of the game I'm playing right now is Whimsical Building F3X, and it will be in the description of this video. But it is the F3X game I prefer when I'm not on my Roblox home, which has a motor block. Now I'll show you guys how to get started. So the first thing you do once you get here in Whimsical is you pick a platform. So I'll go back to spawn and show you all the cool portals they have. As you see, you spawn here. The paths don't show up right away, but you'll spawn right here. And they redid this place because they used to have a different spawn that was like a circle. But I'm going to go to this base place they custom made. And then what you want to do is you want to get out your build tools, right? Build tools number 1. And then you want to go over here to this little bar. There's a different way to do it, but this is just the easiest way to do it if you're just now starting out. And click on the J tool right here. It will have this little letter J by it. Oh, give me 1 second. My friend messaged me. Okay, so you go over here to this J tool, and you click on the plus. See the little plus right there? Then you click on the ground, and now you have a block, right? And what you want to do next is you want to resize your block, right? Maybe make it a little bit smaller. And how you resize is you go up here to the X tool. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. Now we have like a little circle, little circle, little circle, little circle there. That's how you know it's the X tool. We'll also have a little X by it. But just remember, it's like the sort of stones sitting next to each other tool. Now you want to go over here to the left side of your screen and change the increments. You'll see it right there. Increment right there. And you want to make sure it's 0.0001. It is 3 zeros after your dot. See the point can be called point or dot. And then we're going to just go ahead and slowly resize this cube, or block cube. It's technically not a cube until it's this shape, but you know what? We aren't geometric people here. We aren't, I don't know, I don't have another word for that. Now, we're just going to go ahead and move it, and the move tool shows up right away. It's these yellow things, but if you aren't on the move tool, say you're on the resize tool, this thing, you want to switch over to these arrows, right? So now, we have these things and we can move it. The next step is to put a motor on it, right? So that we can spin our film or our images around to make an animation. Because what makes an animation happen is the fact that you have many still images moving through a still frame or plane, essentially. So you have a still plane, and then you have still images that are on a rotating platform or a moving platform. Yeah, I know, you guys aren't here for the science, you just want to see how it works, right? All that just went, like, over there someplace. So, now we're going to place a motor. And how we place a motor, if I remember properly, is with the config tool. So if you're in Whimsical, and I will leave that in the description once again, you should click on the config tool, you click on your block. There should be a choice to put a motor if they haven't updated the game. It looks like they might have updated the game, so I'm just going to real quickly check if there's another way to do it. If there's not, I'll figure out how to do it and tell you guys here. Yep, right here it is. Here on the left side of your screen is motor, right? And speed And the motor might place itself on a random side, so remember to go to your config tool down here on your bar and click on your block and go down to motor. It says 1, that is the speed of your motor. You want to set the speed of your motor to like 0.5 in the beginning, because once the motor is created, you can change it to any speed you want. So I'm just going to set it to that, and it should have created a motor. If it didn't, we will go ahead and click confirm, because Whimsical has done updates. Ooh, unexpected. Ah, right here. So underneath the motor, you want to click confirm. I haven't played Whimsical in a long time. That's why I did not know how to do that. Because you used to just click and the motor would appear. But now, as you can see, the motor did not show up on the side of the block I clicked on, because I clicked on this side. But it showed up on this side, so now you should just rotate your block. And how you rotate is over here, this thing that looks like stones with strings connecting them together. Once your block is rotated around, you want to add a circle, right? So you want to go over here to the J tool again, or the plus tool, and go over to the left side of your screen, and go down to cylinder. I don't know why they call it a cylinder, but they do. And now we're going to go over to resize. We're going to resize it and make it really tiny, and rotate it. Then we're just going to move it over to our machine and stick it on. And we're going to make sure it fits on, because if it doesn't fit on, it's going to fall off. And then in our move tool, we want to change the increments as well to that 0.0001 to make it easier to adjust. Because if your stick here, or your cylinder, is off center, you'll get a wobble, and it won't go in a perfectly circular path. So I'm going to make sure to try my best to put it in the center. And a good way to check for the center is just to shrink it down as tiny as you can. See how it was off center the whole time? And just stick it in the middle of this hinge thing. And now I'm just going to take my time getting that all set up. Now I'm going to go over here to both on my resize tool. Momentary pause. Okay. And now I'm going to go over here to the left side of my screen on my resize tool. Click both, which will make the thing evenly rescale. As you can see, we're still a little off center, but it seems like it evenly covered. And this is the base for the machine. And I'll show you how this works real quick. I'll just go ahead and hold shift, click, click, hold shift C and copy and move this, and then unanchor just the cylinder. And as you can see, this spins with that, but you can still see how it was slightly off center. So a good way to help with off center stuff is to go back in and rescale your post using normal on the left, and try and just check and make sure you're perfectly in the center, and then rescale that using both again and make the base part a little bit bigger, and then hold shift C to copy, and then use both to rescale your copy and push it forwards like this. So now you're going to have like this pin that sits on a disc. So now you know for a fact that this pin is at the center of this disc. Now the disc might be a little bit off, but that's okay, as long as it's not really off. As you can see, this is really off and it's sort of jumping. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sort of set up our disc. There's two ways to build this machine. You can have the disc a part of the machine, but then you can't change what movie you're watching. I'm going to build the version of the machine where you can change what movie you watch. So this might take a second. So the next step is you click on your pin and you hold Shift C, and then you use the move tool to move it out like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a DVD, essentially a disc, that fits into this part. of the machine, because what will happen is this will rotate around like this, and our disc can fit into here, and these sort of clamps hold our disc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this, so it makes it easier for us to make our disc. So just click, drag, select, and hold Shift C, and pull your copy over. Delete the back part that has the motor on it. Don't delete your original. And then what you want to do is you want to actually add a block, because you can't, well, actually don't add a block, because there's an easier way to do this. Just click on this cylinder here, hold Shift C, copy it, pull it into the middle. I know it seems like it's overlapping, but we're going to resize it with resize using both. See how I have both selected on the left? And then make sure it's perfectly in the center of those clamps. Keep trying to rescale it. Make sure it fits in between there. And then we're going to make this disc very big. Like about this big. We will recolor it, and the recolor tool is a paint bucket tool. And then all we do is put holders onto the disc. And how we do that is we add a new block, level it with the disc, and rescale it. Remember to use your resize tool. And then make this as tiny as you can. It doesn't need to be like crazy big. It's a lot like a car wheel. And this can just push through the disc like this. And you don't want to have too much pressure on that stick. And now, as you can see, I sort of have a satellite formation. Now what you want to do is shift select both of those, how I have, like this. Shift, click, click, and hold Shift C. Go to your rotate tool and rotate it. And then just keep doing that. And you'll slowly get a disc formation out of these blocks. And then we're going to rescale all the blocks at once and create like a tube. And what this tube does is it allows the disc to hold this stick here. And then what we'll do is we print an image onto the disc. And then we put it, the whole motor and disc, into a player. And then you can view. And you can make these discs as big as you want. The bigger the disc, the longer the movie. The problem is in Roblox you can't make film like you can in real life, because blocks can't get thin enough, and also Roblox's lighting system is not perfectly realistic. So now for the next step is just to test if this will work how it is. If it works how it is, then we don't need to thicken these or change them at all. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of it with our little box thing, and go Shift C and copy it. Make sure no imperfections was copied with it. And something else I'll do is scooch over this motor, remove this old junky one from the example, make another copy of this, and how you make another copy of that is you click, drag, Shift C, and I'm going to turn this one on by holding Shift, click, 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 and welding. Sometimes you have to tell the motors to have power again, but it doesn't seem like we need that. You can see how we still sort of have a hobble, because it's imperfect. Got a big hobble, actually. And I'm going to copy this disk, and I'm going to tell its collisions to be off. The reason I'm going to tell its collisions to be off is because actually you don't need to do that. I was getting too far ahead of myself. I thought this stick was one whole stick. The reason you would ever tell something's collisions to be off is if you needed something to go through something solid, but as you can see, that's not solid. And now all I have to do is take my copy of the disk, slide it onto the machine that hobbles a whole lot, go to your weld tool, see this little chain, click on it, weld to last, and unanchor my copy disk onto my machine. And as you can see, the disk now spins with the motor. Now you can see it's a little lopsided because we didn't make this inner disk as perfect as we should have, because if we made it perfect, it would have pinched to the shaft of this motor machine we made. And you can see it's also trying to tilt. But that won't matter, because all we're doing is making a television film sort of machine here. And you guys can make yours more perfect or less perfect. So now for the next step in the process, which is to make a copy of our disk so we don't lose it, and to print a little movie on it. And then for the final part is to make the actual TV. And the movie I'm going to print on it is just a little black cube that changes shape, because that's one of the easiest movies to make. If you want to make a more complicated movie, feel free to. And if you wonder why I'm making my cube so tiny, it's because in Roblox you can make glass that makes your image bigger. And I'll show you how to do that here, because if I made my cube like this big, all my images would overlap. But thanks to the discovery of glass in Roblox, or I guess Roblox added it on purpose just for that, you can draw an image super tiny, right, and enhance it. And I'll show you how that works. I didn't expect it to work like that, but it does work like that. And now what you do as you draw your image on the disk is you want to copy it or mirror it to the other side and then just duplicate it a dozen times and then change it. You don't want to draw an original image every single time. And if you do want to draw an original image every single time, you might want to consider making like a custom machine to make it easier. It's very hard to draw an image on these sort of angles. So we'll have the movie start here at the bottom, and it depends which way the machine's going to rotate. And I'll show you that here as well, because if the disc rotates this way, the movie will play that way. If the disc rotates this way, the movie will play that way. But I'm going to have it play this way, and have my dude, who's more of a tree. It's not really a person. A person wouldn't get big. Well, I guess a person does get bigger and bigger, but it's going to go like this, and then it's going to get tinier again. Too tiny, too fast. There we go. And as you can see, my dude starts out tiny, gets bigger and bigger, and then gets tinier again. And we have, like, way too many extra frames. But apparently, we just have extra space in the movie. So, this is what you have. This is our movie. And now we can put it onto a working player. So I'll take a player and get it working so I can see which way the movie's going to want to play itself. So I'm going to do exactly what I did last time. I'm going to weld my motor. As you can see, it's rotating. Now we take a copy of our movie disc. We slip it onto the player. We weld the disc together. We don't weld it to the player. And we just unanchor it. And now it will play. As you can see, we might want to make our movie machine way slower. And how you do that is you just use the config tool once again and change your speed. You want to click confirm there. Maybe even slower than that would be way better. 0.1. Confirm. And as you can see, now we can see what is going to happen. And it's playing this way, which doesn't look very good. Yeah. So it needs to play in the negative direction. So you go to your config tool, you click on your block, and you go negative 0.1. Confirm. And now it will play backwards, and it will look as if it's getting bigger. But now for the next step is to actually make it look like a movie, because right now it just looks like we have a disc with lines on it spinning in a circle. We need to put a shell around this machine. So that's the next step. All you do is add a block with your plus tool there, and slowly just shell it in. The front line there probably should have been tinier. And we want to just find the point where the movie comes in, because that's where our glass needs to be. It's actually a way better way to do this. Delete. A better way to do it than what I was just doing is just to copy a still motor and a still disk, because the still disk has a still frame all lined up for us. This dude might troll here. Nope, he's building a machine. As you can see, we're all lined up with a still frame here. So remember to copy a still disk and a still motor and line them all up. And start building your frame. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a ball. So you go to your add tool, go to the left side, and select ball from the list. And you'll see what it does. So I'm going to add in the ball, and the ball is really huge. And you want to resize it to be sort of tiny-ish. And we want to make its material glass. And how you make its material glass is you go over to the gear, and go over to the left side and select glass. And we change its transparency to like 0.5 or 6. And now what you'll notice is anything you see through this glass gets closer. And now you can see how we can enhance the image of our movie. Now the sad thing is you can't put these glasses like right next to each other. But now you can see how you could draw an image on your movie disc that's super tiny. Yeah, see, he's even admiring it. He's like, whoa. Nope, he's not. He's just running away. But now you can draw a movie that's super tiny on a super tiny disc and see a whole lot. But we have to make sure that this can't see more than one frame, otherwise it ruins your movie because frames overlap. So the first step is to make sure that on your machine that you cover it up like this. You can only see that one frame in your piece of glass. Then you put your piece of glass down, and now that's what you view on your TV. I know, it seems pretty sad, right? That's all you're gonna get to see. And now we just copy this machine. Usually, you seal in the sides, but I made it really big so you guys could see what's going on. But you can build this machine like 50% smaller. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start our machine. So we weld together the motor. I'll paint it like pink so we can see the difference. Weld the motor, unanchor it, get it started, and then we weld the disc. So you select your disc, make sure only the disc is selected so you don't accidentally weld it to your motor. Unanchor it, it gets spinning. And now you can sort of see how they're zeeting through there. But now we want to change its speed again so that you can actually view what's going on. And now you can see how we've created a basic television in Roblox. And it's pretty cool, actually. Now, I only made a basic TV show, But you could make something way more complicated, like a machine that could switch between TV shows, and you could draw really cool TV shows that are more than just a speck getting bigger and smaller. Because Roblox does have gears that can shift using motors, so you could put more than one. But the cool part about this machine is that you can take the DVD off if you're good enough. So you can just go in, sneakily grab just the DVD, make sure you've only grabbed it, and then just pull it off. And now you still have your machine working. So if you had more than one DVD, and you had a DVD holder, you would want the holders to be sort of like the motors, but still, you could store your DVDs and still use them. You wouldn't want to stack your DVDs, because then you would never be able to separate them. But that's all for this video. That's how you make a basic TV in Roblox.